progenitor who reproduced by dividing in half. Judging by his offspring, it's something Trump also does. And finally, a true story. They tossed him into the trash truck. His original music, his possessions, the little he had in this world, tossed them into the cold metal teeth that ripped and crushed them while he was in the emergency room. They may as well have tossed his life. He was still waiting for housing when he died in his tent under the freeway. A veteran, 70 years old, now out of sight, out of mind. The neighbors can rest easily. The business people can make more dough. The politicians can pass more laws to take away the music, the possessions, the life of a 70-year-old who died in a tent under the freeway. Thank you.
That's it from me.
70 years young.
It's hard for me to get up through there, but I'll try.
All right.
And after Buford is Stephanie.
So Stephanie after Buford. All right. Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm just holding this in case the table shakes.
Okay.
Like that.
Like that, huh?
There we go.
Thanks. I'm going to push that back a little bit.
Watch your push.
I know, this is so tight.
Go ahead.
Okay. Wow. I made it.
You know, I can move the.
Wait a minute. Yeah, thanks.
Oh. All right. There we go.
Thank you so much.
All right.
How's the picture? Are we still in the
Yeah,
picture?
I got him. He's got me.
Okay, good.
Let her rip.
All right.
Like you, I find people fascinating, record their movements, listen to the thoughts they express, though I find, though of course, they need their privacy. I find them expressive, their words, if not profound, at least almost, and sometimes riveting. We listen to each other. Here's another one. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. Sometimes I don't trust other people's motivations, though the people I like or even always get my consideration. My students who don't talk or talk very little get my attention and my sympathy the most. I keep trying.
Okay. Thank you, Buford. Very generous with your time. I appreciate that.
About 2 minutes.
Stephanie's name.
Oh, Stephanie Manning is next. Give her a nice round of applause. She has saved this place many times more than I can say. Stephanie Manning.
Okay, so on the train I was writing a phrase list on that Smoky Haze, and I thought, oh, this phrase list is pretty good. Here, I'll give it a try. Haze permeates the villages of the valley, the inscrutable haze of the valley. Haze in every canyon and draw stings the eyes. Passive-aggressive haze, the low-lying curtain of haze, smoky haze, the indolent haze, haze free on the Contra Costa side. Shifty haze, languid haze, death chill haze, corrupt haze, isolation-prone haze, haze on the spectrum, mutable haze, immutable haze, conniving haze, treacherous haze, lecherous haze, vengeful haze, that's for Richie Shepard, decadent haze, cool haze, haze that ain't going anywhere, haze that only leaves when the fires are out, haze that makes it hard to see, mountain haze, a mountain of haze, a valley of haze, Haze Valley, the Panhandle Haze, poets of the haze. This last one's called Dear Sea Urchins.
Don't forget Bob Hayes.
And Bob Hayes.
And Purple Hayes. Oh,
Three.
That's a good one. I like that. The sea urchins, spiny, spiky, round, purple sea creatures, have taken over the sea. They have. And have eaten most of the kelp forest, the seaweed. Pushy they, but with climate change they multiply. And now they are everywhere. It's sea urchin heaven, floating and down, down into the deep. Watch out, little sea urchins. Great chefs are leveling their guns and ready to let you have it. Yummy sea urchins, they say, a gastronomic feast. Lots of money in sea urchin futures. The purple palate awaits. But I say, may the rich choke on their spines. I would never eat a purple sea urchin or any brother, sister creature, not on land or sea. And what to do about their numbers? This is not about their numbers, but climate change that we are causing. Fix that, and you fix the numbers.
Again, generous this time, David Stephanie. We have David and then
Richard.
David and then Richard.
Miss Sandra, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're here, so.
Don't forget those sea otters.
You have 3 or 4.
And they love sea urchins. Love sea otters.
Amontillado.
I'll start with a haiku. You keep chasing me, I keep on throwing away throwaway lines. Ghost caboose. Smut. Slick trash, bossy, glossy, so uninformative for those formative years. Brightly colored print without a trace of lint. Gossip, dropping hints without an ounce of content. Like fooling all the people some of the time. Inquiring minds want to know who's stuffing who. With an editor who is blackmailing you. Hides your sauce in a cage. Keeps your name off the page. Smile, please. And where are you hiding that alien?
Really?
Okay. A cunt is not a club. A cunt is a country, perhaps a country club. A man is not an answer. He is a dick with foibles, perhaps a gerbil, perhaps a jigsaw puzzle piece. Sometimes the piece fits, sometimes it belongs elsewhere. Sex with love, sex without love. For American men and women in their 20s and then in their 50s, those roles reverse. But don't take another haiku. But don't take my word for it. Make up your own schnuscht. Haiku. Gesundheit. Shekar, which is Persian for pray. Prophets and shamans and the moms of the imams all put their heads together and they came up with culinary herbs, medicine wheels, olive oil. They found that pray with an A and pray with an E are the same sacred sound. Spirit feast. Clackety clack, clickety click, clackety clack. November, no wonder, hidden in plain sight. Dally and then, daily and then, catacomb, comb the cat, brush the hedge, suture the future, stitch together headlands and longing. Take a far view of a fair view, fair, decent, fair, so-so, fair, a local exposition. Start lowly, go slowly, expand the band, orchestrate, stay out late. Curl in the girl, curl in the girl, curl in the girl, curl in the girl, give it a whirl. Try your hand, you're in demand. Write a poem, that'll show 'em. There are 1,000 grains to sift and rock. Go out and find the building block. Boom, boom, nash, nash, gloom is doom, hash is cash. Super session with Whatness. Whatness I got from my Persian bass player who's, that was his prompt, so here's my whatness. Super session. Sometimes a prompt will knock a previous thought right out of your head, right out of the park, but then a carbon copy of the first idea creeps right back into the vestibule, waiting patiently at the front door to ring your ding, enter the ring, sing your wings, flutter your butterfly, your guy, wire your lyre, string your catgut. You forget exactly what whatness is. Silly biz, that's this poetry fizz. Apt to amp, evaporate, damp, disappear into thin air. Body's no longer there. Yet Day of the Dead remembers exactly what you said before you lost your head. Am I done? Or do I got a little bit. I got one more little one. Where is it? It is. Oh. Soften the S. Stop hissing like snakes. Sing in a chorus. That's what it takes. I'll stop there.
Thank you, David. Another person generous with time. I really appreciate that. We have a crowded evening.
Sanderell.
Sanderell. And Vashti Nexton. After Sanderell.
After Sanderell is Rubino. Robert Rubino.
Oh, Robert Rubino coming back after the Sanderell.
The curve.
Thank you.
It's the curve.
Stand in the background, you guys.
Oh.
Don't lie about it.
No, I don't.
Nobody break wind, huh? Try to break wind.
You're ready.
Children.
Remember this, just because you steal something doesn't mean you own it. This is still Indian country, and you do live on a lonely land. Sensitive white. There are white people who are very sensitive.
What?
Don't like to be reminded what they are and their ancestors did and continue today. It depresses them. Like sewer gas of San Francisco, a metaphor where some exude rotten intellect heart. They can't help it. They've been taught how right white people always are. I know. I'm white. White raised me. I know the beast intimately. No, I'll not write anything that's going to make them feel any better than the truth. Can't deal with it? Do I care? You can take your Panamine horses, ride them right out of here. Your collective karma brought you to this. My ancestors lost their melanin, developed a recessive gene that turns my eyes blue, green, hazel. Some might say, since life began as black, maybe the Cain-Abel story. Some white Christians are fond of saying, the mark of Ham is black. When truth is, Adam and Eve were black.
Oh, no kidding.
Perhaps the truth, mark of Ham, is white.
A swallow!
Perhaps their beliefs are the scourge of Mother Earth. Just saying.
Thank you.
Getting ready. As our world burns, I spend afternoon jazz Sunday at Cafe International.
Oh, yeah.
Talk has it Earth is not alive. Explain food, flora, fauna, us. I hope you're enjoying high intellect karma.
Yeah.
What American country treats indigenous with dignity, respect, isn't stealing everything they have, believing they have the right to do so?
Ooh.
Hatred for some people towards them is profound, palpable. Jealousy of what they have. Murder, take everything, strip them of family, dignity, give them sin, placate, pacify those left alive for empire's control.
Did whales wonder where the Salish, Tlingit, Haida, Pomo, Ohlone, Miwok go? Whales remember their numbers diminished, replaced by new people. Their new poisons now wreaking mayhem. Whales remember whale wars that are the Homo sapien wars against whales that are actually called the Homo sapien wars. Flora, fauna have seen their power ebbed, drain of life forces once possessed, as new old diseases increase death kill. Polar bears looking like starving, overgrown large rats, ready for an expiration date. All right, everybody, get in your lines. Your expiration dates are being readied.
Thank you. Stand around.
After Robert, it's Dan.
Yes, yes. All right. Move this back here just for a second. All right. Now Robert Rubino is coming back. He did the one of the door prizes is doing the keynote, and he comes back to do the open. So give him a nice round again, please, just for the heck of that, because I was interrupting everything.
Roughing the passer. I smoked the dope of January 9th's horoscope, got the same birthday as Bart Starr, winning quarterback in the first 2 Super Bowls. But back then, I was a fan of the upstart league of Broadway Joe and Oakland's Mad Bomber. I hated the stuffy NFL, hated those pitiless perfect Packers, hated winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Lombardi's right-wing, wrong-headed, muddled mantra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan B.
Another generous person with time. I really appreciate that. Like, let's say that 5 million times.
And then Martin Joseph.
And then Martin Joseph, and then after that's the feature, correct?
Correct.
All right. Just make sure it make
sure I'm frank. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. There we go. So whatness, and so these actually have to do with whatness. And in terms of, when people, sometimes people, well, there's lots of reasons that a poet writes a poem. So anyway, so that, and what do they write about? That's whatness, and that's this. Here we go. You say you are searching, that you cannot find it. You say you are lost. Listen, grasshopper, love is not a battleground where the bleeding losers are left strewn about to beckon for death's welcoming rap, longing for a final gentle word or touch from God. And I do not serve angels. They have just about everything they need by now. As for you, aching in mind, body, or soul, who have that acquired taste for love, that thirst that seemingly draws one out of one's mind, I'll tell you what. You can find it simply enough. Go, give nourishment to all tender beings, feed every wide mouth, quench all thirst for love, and love as you would be loved, right where you are. Let your happiness wander no more, no matter where you go, and so be requited. Let your beautiful lips and supple, passionate flesh open sweetly to all the love you can imagine. Yield to its want, and disseminate all those vital gifts you have upon this magnificent world of ours. And thank you. And this is also in the what category, because the title of this poem is What Words Can Do, and this is a poem to poets, so you have to forgive me, it rhymes. Why have I chosen the solitude of what I call the invisible life? The miracles of which pass unseen, the evidence of which is strife.
Of course, nature has sympathy with my cause and its effect, for the world is ever loving and sublime, or so my hopes expect. Now, to the ordinary or common eye's view, life's road is easy to envision. One manages the simple wants and plots a course of temporal acquisition. But mystic eyes see beyond that veil, and so I'm free, not held in that thrall, for in this life I do wax ecstatic whenever my soul is touched by glory with all. Such events are like unto the sun for all their showering warmth of love, and I am wrapped in a fold of considerations I can't truly speak well of. Be curious, then, and comb words such as these, as you might seek that place where a love by which your soul may take wing has joy presume thy face. It surpasses all understanding in the varied delights of this redolent world by far. It's found in the pursuit of the Spirit's inspirational mind. It's as bright as any star. It shines fast in the depths of peace, sounds the soul, and holds all life dear. Is enamored of all things human, and provides us insight, both perfect and clear. Thank you. Martin Joseph, for God's sakes. We're going to adjust this for him here. All right. Okay. And make sure this is. I think that's good. All right. Do not do this at home.
Good evening, Sacred Grounds.
Okay, yeah.
I brought this up
Yay, Superman!
because it gives you a visual. This is the thing that is referred to in the poem. I also want to note that all of the haikus.
That should just be read. That's just stuff. You're not being heard there. All right, there we go. All right.
Bless you, Mike.
That's
all of the haikus in tonight's poems are written by my daughter Vanessa.
All right.
These are called phone booth haikus. Finishing up the Jon Stewart video edits. Let's start that again, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Dan. Should. Phone booth haikus. Finishing up the Jon Stewart video edits, I glance up and see the box on the top shelf, made of tin, depicting Clark Kent changing into Superman. It has been years. I pulled it down and open the top and pour out slips of paper, your haikus from years gone by. I don't need to write anything new. The poems are already there. You met my mother. Maybe it didn't last long, but at least there is me. One thing in common between 3 and 32, chocolate chip cookies. Mouse ears on your head, your daughter on your shoulders, Disneyland by storm. Daddy, tie my shoes. You've got to learn how someday, and so you taught me. Put on your nightgown, don't forget to brush your teeth, oh, and wash your face. I think of my dad and that old pair of red shoes and sing of rainbows. Chicken burritos and Fanta red cream sodas, our dates at Simon's. Jumping on the bed, you knew better than to scold, more fun to join in. And now we agree, pouring olive juice in ears, a bad idea. You said have at it, handed me the personals, and I picked Carrie. In Golden Gate Park, aided by 3 bicycles, a family grew. Put corn in pancakes, mix apples with omelets. My dad is brilliant. You went to the store, quesadillas on fire, vegetable soup saves. You pull your wife's toes, although she begs you to stop. I love you for that. Evenings at Yet Wah singing old-time rock and roll won't be forgotten. You killed JFK, you evil conspirators. My dad is on to you. 1994, girls prepping for the prom. Watch your step, buddy. Buddha bathes in green, but Martin's bath is better. Buddha plays no chess. You adored that. You adored that cat. I colored him with markers. He was our zipper. You drop off the girls, stoic in your black Greek hat. College has begun. XXX haiku is not what you would expect your father to write. A son for Martin, immaculate conception at age 55. We have redefined the father-daughter dance in upstate New York. I fold each haiku gently and put them back into the box. This time of breathing in and out has happened, is happening, and someday will cease. At least I know that I have been loved.
Yeah. All right. And just make sure I'm framed in that thing so I don't look like a person with the head cut off here.
Am I good? All right. Yeah.
So a little cut off.
All right. So, oh yeah, right here. There we go. We're organized here. So this evening's feature is the Haight-Ashbury Literary Arts Journal. Alice Rogoff and Cesar Love are in the house. They are involved heavily with that as editors, and there's a site of that. And so instead of having one person do 20 minutes, we have 4 artists coming up here. They will be reading for you as a feature group. We have Cesar Love, which is, Cesar, raise your hand so they see here. We have some people that don't. Alice Rogoff right here. Karen Melander Magoon right over there. And then K.R. Morrison, where are you? I know I saw you came in.
Back here behind the wood.
Oh, she's back there behind the wood. So these 4 individuals are in the current issue. There are other people in the current issue, of course. But they're going to speak before you now. It's a great, how long has this been around?
Since 79.
Since 1979, a fine piece of work has been produced every year as an annual thing, right? Okay, just want to make sure. Almost annual. But, you know, it's like the poetry in it is always great. I always love having a chance to read it. And there are copies here tonight. And before I go any further, I should stop because why should I talk? They should read. Are you going to go first?
I think Cesar's going first unless K.R. or Karen would like to go first. Whatever.
Okay, I think they're easy. All right, so who's coming up first then?
I'll go.
Oh, okay, so give Cesar Love a round of applause as he comes up here, and we will take care of this. All right.
Good evening, Sacred Grounds.
All right, Cesar Love.
All right, good to see everybody. So, I am going to read poems that of people who we have published that are far, far away and are not going to make it to Sacred Grounds. So this one's by Carol Hamilton of Midwest City, Oklahoma. The poem is called Without Expectations. Far into the blue, electric sequin disco dress. Far into the bird tweeted morning, mockingbird still mimicking after sunset. Redundant beats and insistent riffs sounded with the slap of waves, forever drumming at and under Odysseus' boat lamenting. Never, never will this journey end. All night the prostitute will ply her trade. All day the saint will pray and plead on into the night. Every dawn this Danaus will arrive, and I come to count on it. Stop signs at the corner, water running down, my foot planting itself on earth instead of clowning and pawing at air. Pink roses open their faces and nod against the blue. The pure black cat peers at me through glass with his yellow eyes. Penelope does not know when or if the relentless waves might bring change. There is just this electric blue still singing its recurrent song. That's by Carol Hamilton. And this poem is by Elaine Girard of Spokane, Washington, who was our feature in the last issue. It's called Writing My List. I need very little. A wan yellow ochre circle of sad light, salt, a pinch of sugar, a kiss, a slap, the iron tang of night, skewed, splintered doors, secretive skeletons of spiders, tiptoeing ghosts of children, Indian indigo lies, whiskey-colored eyes, life without fathers, a mother's echo, drums in circles, feathered, blue girls smiling, polka dots on teepees. I just need a little meat, juiced, roasted, foot-pounding runs through velvet highs, flying and flying away, dancing on cinnamon and fruit-dotted red, and landing in the stew of forgiveness. I need just a little crazy dogfight, strung up barbed wire, and a sting of freedom, color, flavor, flight. That's Elaine Girard. And this one's by Peggy Schimmelman of Livermore, California. It's called Oops, You Missed It. Not now, you say. It's cold and you're spent as the wolf moon returns to spill down its magic on rovers and lovers and muse-seeking poets. We shall have, you promise, so many moons more to soothe our senses, thrill our spirits with quaint superstitions and romantic whims. But now, as the final moon beckons, will you deny at the end that stooped, withered creature who springs from your mirror, frantic, demanding her parka and cane? In her soul, she suspects the moon never weeps for the transient shadows below, Earth's fragile creations who dance for a time, then dissolve with their dreams into nothing. Still, she would bathe in its splendor. Will you walk with her down to the vineyard tonight as she offers her tribute of ecstasy, despair, gratitude, and fear, regret for not coming sooner, all balled up together and hurled at the sky in one final primal howl at the wolf moon? This is another one by Peggy Schimmelman. It's called Carnival Days. This tilt-a-whirl planet spins and pivots, rattles my spirit, dizzies my soul. Those sudden swerves, they slip and slide me. How can one expect at the end of the day to walk a straight line or think clearly? My friend rides the carousel, dreamy-eyed, as around she goes in predictable circles, ups and downs, gentle, the music merry, nostalgic, hypnotic, and chosen to give her nothing she won't want to hear. Now come the screams, glee, swirled with fear from the roller coaster's zipping, dipping. Wahoo, shouts one. Let me off, wails another. As out of the funhouse I stumble, she tightens her grip on the unicorn's mane and sways to the sweet Calliope. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Says I love reading the variety. So can you put the names and the titles of the poems? Yeah. Thank you. And okay. We'll figure it out. Well, who's next? Yeah. Okay. All right, Dave. We're updating as we go. And this is Alice Rogoff is next. We'll give her a nice round of applause, please. And And then we have another person who's from the anthology show. Yeah, maybe take care of that there. And get really close to it because that's what you need to do.
I have several back issues and even the very first issue of the journal, which had a collage in it. And so this was the first issue. It's upside down. This is the first issue of the journal.
No, she just has to get really close to the mic.
Okay.
Really, right on it.
So this was the first issue of the Haight-Ashbury Literary Journal. It has a quote by Jack Michelin in it.
Jack Michelin. All right, I think I have that.
So I'm going to start with this poem called The Peace Rose, which is in the current issue. I was named for peace and planted in a glass house where nations are told not to throw stones. In a rock garden, in a desert where I am the only flower, where my soft light color disappears among the bright red. I apologize for thorns that continue to prick next to petals that fall and fade. I am such a vain rose, too pretty to dance with you, but sometimes I do. How did I feel when the boat turned around? When the waves came over the bow, when I felt like I was drowning, when I did drown, when they signed the order, when the government sent me back, when the boat left the American shore and I went back in a camp because the boat turned around, when life stopped. How did I feel when the boat turned around? When Marta joined me on a border in limbo, on a passage from limbo to hell? How does Marta feel turning around, turning back with two little children, Juan and Felipe, or Anahid and Sala, turning back, back, back? Well, this is a poem that relates to some of the policies about prison in other states. Johnny got busted in Texas, red, black, gray, sand. Johnny sits in a round shadow and we worry like all the women worry. Johnny got busted in Texas, red, black, gray, sand. His sister worries like all the women worry, the eyes behind bars planted deep in a tiger's mouth. Johnny got busted in Texas, red, black, gray, sand. His sisters worry like all the women worry, eyes planted in a tiger's mouth. I finally did write something about Trump. The mean boy who never grew up. The mean boy who never grew up likes to kick the moon and make the sun grow cold. He collects gold in long cars. He owns a street that others do not walk on. The whole world stays outside his wall while he stays inside in his castle by a moat that fills with plastic bottles and tons of trash and smoke from the matches he throws.
Thank you, Alice. And now is it Karen or K.O.? Karen? I don't know. And now Karen Melinda Magoon from the collection works of the Haight-Ashbury Literary Arts Journal. Before you now, and before you.
So I have only the current Haight-Ashbury Literary Journal, which I'm very honored to be part of, but I also want to highlight some of the wonderful work by others. This is George Longenecker from Middlesex, Vermont, who writes on elms. They are survivors, these huge trees whose branches reach all the way across 33rd Street, touching other elms. Trees that shade much of Minneapolis. A church down the street has a sign where worship times are usually announced. Estamos contigo. Immigrants welcome here. Some of these elms are natives, survivors. Some are Asian hybrids. One shades a brick row house on the corner. Across the street, Alexio, who came here 27 years ago from Guatemala, runs the counter at his convenience store. 2 Somali women cross 33rd Street by the church, keep to the shade of elms on a sultry afternoon. University students bike past on their way to the lakes. Elms, native and hybrid, thrive and grow in summer heat. Some will not make it, but most will. They welcome newcomers, scatter seeds and leaves. Elms continue to grow vase-shaped, towering over homes and shops, new branches and roots deep under the city streets. Elms make shade for everyone, wherever they're planted. Live more than a century, outlive heat, drought, pollution, outlast waves of xenophobia. Some people never see the trees, never see others who walk this street every day. Middletown, Vermont, and here from San Francisco, California, Dan Richmond. And it's called Plastic Bags After a Newsreel. At the border crossing, the barbed wire had captured plastic bags that shuddered on the wind as far as the eye could see in both directions. The trees, too, had them rattling on their branches like sick blossoms, which made the children laugh, despite the hollow cheeks and smudges under their eyes, whose frail voices were as precious as raindrops on a parched tongue. But their mothers and fathers were grim, distracted by the mile-long line behind them of yearning persons, and behind that a sea that had all of a sudden changed from green to blue to black, then stood up on itself to dance for a sullen sky, and beyond the sea the panting desert containing their cratered cities, smoking where there were no chimneys. But the adult minds were mostly on the question, have we the right papers? And will they prompt the cop in camouflage to raise the striped gate that opens onto the green grasses of Europe? By Dan Richmond. Do I have time for another one little
But just get really close to the mic.
Okay.
Yes, short
Okay.
though.
Okay.
All right.
I'll do, this is real short. This is by Retta Lewis in South Carolina. And the address is 96 South Carolina, which I find kind of interesting. I don't know where 96 is. Or maybe she's 96. But she's right next to 95. 95.
It's an area in South Carolina.
It's an area?
It's an area.
It's an area
Yes,
in
it
South
goes
Carolina.
Back to the American Revolution.
Thank you. I learn something every day.
Next to Black River.
Okay, you know, okay.
Not too far from Charleston.
You all know so much. That's wonderful. All right. This is short, so I have time to chit-chat a little bit because it's short. It's called Clippings, and it's by Retta Lewis. Her wings, once clipped, brought solace and rest instead of grief and loss. She no longer had to try to fly within her cage or try to break the lock and soar beyond it.
Wow. KR, and then we have another individual who will also, in the anthology, who will also be reading after KR. So when she comes up here, kindly give her a nice warm welcome. She has, this is not your first time here, is it?
No, second.
Okay, second time here, so give her a round of applause anyway.
Hi. Last time I read here was for a poem that Hay Ashbury Literary Journal published. It's my
Really?
First, yeah, it's for an issue for, I had Midnight in Veradero in it. This time I was grateful to feature, and it means a lot to me because I love this journal, so, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. I have too much here. I'll figure out what I'm reading. First one's published in this issue. It's called life letter to Ann Sexton? Or do I have any Ann Sexton fans?
There's one in here, I know there is.
Yes.
I love her. So it's a love letter to her, but life letters. If the living dead and the dying stuck here could trade craft slices for autographs, I'd meet you in my living room, where countless books soundtrack shelves of music memorized by my veins. Diary landscape where a woman's gumption breathes, confronts the patriarchy's blaze. Our skin burning, we'd be two lady heretics trapped inside mice bodies, seeking rabbit holes in hardwood floors until we find yellow wallpaper to graffiti, then burn it all down while holding hands, holding words, poem in poem. The truth is, you and I visit all the time. I meet you between the lines of live or die, basket cases of poems where I'm frozen in the 3rd grade, trapped in department store dresses and pearls, stomach purging rainstorms, shrouded in mother triggers. If I knew how to stop what hurts you, the hurricane field of apricots, the blackbird lynched to a thriving oak tree, your relentless dance with Mr. Darkness while everyone else stays so happy inside life's seasons, so sure of man's day, well then I wouldn't have you, would I? I'd lose the war that makes words get a life, sexed in resin urging one restless girl to rise. I'd forfeit the fire inside me, the fury of the scum girl collective underpants. To your surprise, irony is actually an afterlife. Without your poems, bloody wrists in bathtubs or carbon monoxide catnaps would be many a girl's memoir, as you know, an unfortunate departure. I know for me, retiring to eternal moonlight would be a tempting wilderness if you weren't here, breathing inside these books, whispering to girls enlivened by word retreats. Maybe between the lines of your free verse resides your beloved Mercy Street. I've got some new fresh stuff. Is that okay that I don't read what's in the thing?
You can read some fresh.
Cool. So it was Dia de los Muertos, and since my mom passed, I went from having small little candles for people, loved ones every year, to a 3-story altar that I make for her in the park. And I wrote this about her altar after last year. It's called Her Altar. Your pictures come first, cascades of you that testify. Language can't touch what a pirate woman braves. Her Grand Canyon narrative we hike so our ordinary souls can stretch, bleed, digest. Then come your sacred things. Supreme's records, your Lakers t-shirt, Chevrolet, steak and eggs, Folgers coffee, and wild turkey, your grandparents' trail of tears. Around moonrise, candles converge. A bone echo of your voice returns. Lost daughters blow in, thirsty for a deerskin nest. A broken man, he lost his mother. I watch his tears rest in your sunset hands. The smell of motorcycle engines, polished oak and gunmetal wrap around him like a moon blanket. A little girl climbs inside portraits of you. Is this your mom? She asks. Her questions kiss your paintings and photographs. My grandma went to heaven too, she adds. She announces her Muerta dress. I stitched it myself on my mom's sewing machine, she says, her green eyes fastened to you. I retreat to all those costumes you handmade for us kids on Hallows Eve. My sister a Cherokee warrior, my brother a clown. I visit those sandboxed visits, a sad child's playground. Rusty swings chained to wound love lost. I hated the world battled you. A policeman interrupts, clears his throat. Ma'am, it's time to break down, pack it up. Time for you and your altar to go home. Home. My eyes find calloused hands wrapped around a flashlight and a gun strap. Bury my home on Wounded Knee, your countless evictions, a rental, an emotion, a relationship. I blow out the candles, I say goodbye, like leaving you on weekends, an ache looms in my lungs, outweighs me. I collect you, pictures and offerings as if I'm packing a lifetime of our conversations. I feel our Mother Moon hold me, some kind of afterlife foster child in my Snoopy suitcase on your All Souls Day. It's not really short.
Oh, well, we have another person that's fitting
Okay.
into the time slots here,
Okay.
so that's why. Otherwise, we would be able to do that.
Okay. So, I guess I'll read this one. I don't get to read the one about a patriarchy. Bummer. There's a lot of men here.
All right, good. No, read it. I'd love to hear it.
Plenty of time for that.
Yeah.
So yes or no?
Yeah, I'm not sure that the time will work out.
I'll just read Rune. I cast 9 bookmarks made of my skin. Black cactus reminders I bury in you. I resurrect in memory basements. My naked ghost dances. Ice-cold footprints through your backbone mazes. I kick rocks, turn over stones. I graffiti soul ruins so those conquistadores smell our magic. So your soul ruins know. I cast 9 bookmarks in you. Bruja echoes for every poema that holds you like my bed. For every meal you eat alone that tastes of me. So every painting or story made by left hands summon you and me. For new moons that turn away from you. Your nights dark as the dead end you left in a sweet witch's heart. Thank you.
Wow. Hey, Aaron Morrison! Okay, so now it's Ryan K. Turner. So the reason why the time got a little shifted because we have another person from the anthology here. Ryan K. Turner. He's traveled a long way to be here, so give him a nice round. Unexpected, but wonderful. All right, thank you, David, for that. This is his first time. Oh, this is his first time. Come on. We didn't do that. We didn't know.
I am desperately sorry that I was in a mass vaccination accident representative of my 2 legs that are hampered and possibly 2 broken ribs. And that's not bad. I've had a lot. See him and see what bad. But anyhow, I heard a very good film about trees today, so I've got one that I hope is good. Night has dreamt away its thick and fleshy blackness, and the Humboldt morning bleeds its cold affliction on a rocky, sunless shore. The moon is a harlot to its faithful tides, racing the sky as the water turns blindly towards the husk of pearly scents. Redwood genitals guard the fog-drawn crows, impaling the humming sky like mad infected steeples. Hidden aloft, spotted owls glow coolly with a glint of faithful fish. The succulent fever burns low in this cathedral. The woods are dank and redolent, simmering in the legs to the edge of bursting. But part the tall canopy and you'll see the cancer. Malignant roadways winding to the heart of the marrow with the low rumble of men. We wander the cool lums, drunken, shadowed in your wishes, straining for your Sabbath, lamenting mostly that our deaths come dull and lingering like a severed mist. But your death, my friend, is a prideful beast, with a face of headlights, steely teeth, and the fecund breath of diesel. Trees are silent martyrs of a secret council, breeding slender faith, motionless against the gathering whispers of storm. So guard the coast in your dwindling hours, with your back pressed against the sea. I will think of you often in the barrenness, the fleeting touch of your eager skin, your cool, moist breath, and how you made love with the fog through the window until at last you became the dark and fleshy night. Hey, good news. This one is shorter. I just happened to be there to witness a small cat chasing drifting feathers in a downtown parking lot, too immersed in living to even know he didn't have a home. Debates of well-intentioned mission or vulgar intrusion, vague aside, I pondered a course to follow. It reminded me of all the lessons I never learned from my father, who gushed that you only help the weak if you're soft, help the abandoned if you're lost, and only feel pain if you're not inflicting it. His parish was a growling scimitar of rabid dogs, chasing the brightness away from every living corner. Great black-winged birds flooded his stillborn sky, all set on a canvas of simmering rage, its solid closed mouth colors forever on the prowl for carefree joy. A frigid, windswept half-bay of light was a safe nursery for the dogs to roam, but ceaseless winters bred only black full moons that no longer commanded echoes of instant trailing. And so the many passing years softened the beast, and finally, on a warm spring night, they quietly turned down a dank alley and disappeared. Letting go of his mad imaginings and his puerile curses was as close to peace as he would find, and I, witnessing the last shadowed flickers of light doused from him in this air of bleeding dust, was as close to understanding as I would ever know. And if I had not brought home the rain-sparkled kitten from the downtown parking lot, my soul would not be worth the paper it's bleeding on. I have to thank Alice Rogoff for thanking me for praising this one. There are two things about it. Number one, I was in the Army, a tank gunner, in February 1991 when we went through the first February blood for oil skirmish. And number two, as far as the George W. Bush administration goes,
Glass of water?
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Thank you.
But anyway, this is something I constructed during that period, but somehow only a year ago I was able to bring it into the formation of real film. Okay, there's a certain half-remembered place somewhere. It can be found, they say, in the tombs of a half-buried castle nestled in the soft, shadowed crevice of a suckle neckline. But that's not where you're headed. In a half-forgotten place, a jagged tooth ingress is looming, spattered lightly in blood, the remnants of a cold aural distance lapping at your feet in a gentle guide. What dogma trail did you track to finally lose the sun and find only hearts too timorous to even beat aloud? A legion of stolen citizens who never smelled a battlefield, yet are eager to ship off their neighbors' sons and daughters to spurt angry blood in some place they couldn't even find on a map because, stupid, war is good for business. You may know these meritorious patriots. They're called America. And what fellow vines bear fruit for me? They've left me behind, or mock me in their slavering death masks. It's okay. That's the least of my problems. I must qualify at least to the postmortem revisionists for the vivisection necessary to achieve my moral equanimity. To that I am sentenced, still attempting to collect debts from the dank marrow of long forgotten dead men.
Oh.
Behind you, yeah. Have to get out of the envelope. Yeah, there you go. Oh, my leg is killing me. Oh.
You want to sit down?
Yeah. No, I can stand. Just my left leg.
Where's your,
Yeah, the envelope is behind you.
You need to wear some black, wear you some tiger's eye, basin of your spine.
Yeah.
Tiger's eye. Red tiger's eye.
No, it's like
hematite magnets. Basin of your spine.
Because it's still
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, but people are behind you. They won't be able to just sit over there.
red jacket.
Oh, okay, well, okay.
Put it right down here. Open you right up. Your wife would be happy after that. Reason why,
I think that's probably we should just go on to.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know if he's gonna, I thought he's gonna be the short one.
Okay, here we go.
All right, there we
I got a beauty here.
If you want to sit, I'd be glad to hold the mic for you.
No,
All right?
thank you. My left leg, I was in an automobile accident. My car got damaged, but I only got halfway through. Okay. This is called the Great Salad Break-In, and you all can understand the implications of that, right? I'll leave now, because okay. I can't see myself in the mirror anymore. I'm not sure what that means. I can still see the faded reflection of your eyes, though. Trembling eyes, eyes alive, eyes like haunted corridors of the asylum. I don't even know who to haunt when I'm carriaged away. Now you're alone, hoping the flames absorb themselves within the tattered fabric of your smoldering backyard smile. And alone am I, drunken shots to bide away the sticky languid time on execution row, bobbing for the sordid magic in the dime store elixir to drink in the sky in one furious gulp. So ramble blindly, stopping only if you catch the scent of your own lost climb. The interim bleeds a sumptuous, vomitous glow beyond the excesses of our dreams, with exit wounds staring wax-eyed into the raw sprinkle of dawn. All those bright, gleaming merchants on your right who talked you into this and out of that, of course, with only your own best interests at heart. They must be bathed in the glow of blood and satisfaction. Hopefully, having outlived their currency, they'll soon topple gently in the fields with frozen eyelids. May they be a glad fortune for wolves.
All right. Thank you very much. Give him a nice round. Brian K. Turner, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to take a quick break. We have a lot of people on the list, so time will tell. We gave Brian a little extra time by arrangement because he came such a distance and there's special circumstances. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Count 5. Count 5.
How you doing?
It's a mix of lavender and wintergreen. Wash your arms. You haven't swallowed that. that stuff right there. You lost it into the rack? Yeah. Somebody's trying to compare rack to Vietnam. I said, what is Vietnam? It's a crap on. See that above somebody ran into you? Was it the state of Nevada? Where Nevada? Reno? No, that's big.
Probably worse.
Right now, if you sneeze right now, it's going to work.
By Brady.
Yeah, so what you want to do, put your side around
I'm just about sick and tired of losing things every 5 minutes.
Excuse me, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I was going to play a song on my guitar, but I didn't realize, is this only poetry? If
No,
it
no,
is,
it's fine. No, fine.
Oh, okay.
You want to come up and do a song? You got 4 minutes-ish?
Yeah, I was going to do a song by Todd Rundgren called I Saw the Light.
Yeah, just give the guy credit. After you finish, when I can't.
What are you looking?
I'm looking for something that someone asked me for, and I know I have it. And I know where it is.
Thank you.
No, that's good. That's good. And this is your first time here? Okay, so we do a hoot and a holler when someone comes up here. You know, I'm just about. Okay.
I spent 15 hours doing the voting.
Well, I'm looking for something that should be here. It should be in here. It's a pencil bag. Like you know how kids have a pencil bag at school, and it's supposed to be in here. You know, that's the kind of thing.
I know, it drives you crazy.
I know, I had it. These cards came down.
Is there a pencil bag over there? What color?
Oh, there it is. Can I have that? That red thing.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. Okay. Well, no, it's like, it's like I had it.
No, but I know, I lose these all the time, so I know you have to start looking over around.
Not a lot about you. It's 61%.
That was the early days. See, the earlier days of
It's probably got to be the best prize of all time here.
You guys are gonna fight over it.
It's just, this is, who brought this?
You guys are gonna fight over it. It's like
the best prize of all time.
Yeah, it might be. Let me just get this.
The movie album. Well, this
We're sparse tonight. This,
Leonard
this,
Cohen.
yeah, and that's